now I know how important is time management.
You need to first figure out what works for you in terms of time management.
I think for me, the only thing I really focused on was trying to use all my time wisely.
The advice that I have to give from my personal experience is that when you add something on like an extracurricular, you do take away the total amount of time that you have to work on stuff. But it has sort of this opposite effect where I find it kind of focuses me very greatly whenever I'm doing something. So although I actually have less time to work on homework assignments and stuff, I feel like subconsciously I recognize that, and then I actually pay closer attention to everything and kind of figure it out much quicker. So I would say it's kind of a balancing act where you just kind of have to go into it, figure out how much you're actually able to give to extracurriculars within a reasonable amount of time, while still keeping on top of everything. And there's no magic number for that. That's going to vary from person to person, and little strategies like putting stuff into your calendar, making a schedule will definitely help when you manage all of that.
I think just like my energy and motivation is higher when I'm like involved and socially like active. So I found that even though I spent a lot of time on extracurriculars, I think ultimately like it doesn't necessarily cost as much as it seems for exactly the same reason that was already mentioned. Like personally, my approach was to do things that have like, because there's like for extracurriculars, a lot of the time it's at a fixed time, whereas like studying you can kind of fit in like during, whenever you're free. So I would actually schedule my extracurriculars first and then use kind of whatever time was left over for studying. And I think for me, the only thing I really focused on was trying to use all my time wisely.
For my first year, I took so many courses that I couldn't manage. So now I know how important is time management. So it's like I feel a little bit more relaxed now than in my first year. It's easier because you have more experience. You can it's easier to talk with your academic advisor or your professor. And in my first year, I was very shy, so I couldn't do that.
The lectures are necessary. You need to pay attention. You need to go to them. It's better not to skip lectures and all that. You still need to work by yourself after class. You need to still go over all the things you've learned during lectures. Because even though you listen to them and some of the things stick on your head, you still need to work over again and try to understand fully all the topic, because sometimes some things are tricky and you might like overlooked at it, and then that thing exactly appear on the midterm or quiz, and you're like, I should have reviewed this.
For assignments, I'm going to give similar advice. Definitely give yourself some time to start them at least a few days in advance, minimum. There are times where you're not going to know how to do everything on the assignment. That will happen occasionally. It's okay, it happens. This is where you can collaborate with friends. In fact, discussing ideas with friends can really help. And also office hours. Sometimes the profs can be really, really helpful during office hours too.